Good evening. It is a brand new season of Cut Deep, and I have missed you. I hope you've had a wonderful Christmas and a bright start to 2022. I wish only good things for you, my listening audience, as well as for your families and loved ones. The concept of Cut Deep was developed with a focus on encouraging the wider public to think more about the issues that plague us, encouraging persons to have a voice and to use that voice to invoke change. Cut Deep is an interactive platform cutting through the noise and political rhetoric. It is raw, uncut, challenging you to think critically. What do the issues mean for us? What part do we play? It is a platform that will move the Virgin Islands toward unified, integrated success. I want to welcome back Blossoms Flores as our support sponsor for Cut Deep. I want to thank those of you who continue to support this platform from behind the scenes. Thank you. Cut Deep is a multi-platform show covering social and political issues in the BVI. Its viewership continues to grow, reaching more than 6,000 viewers weekly. It cuts across demographics and captures an international audience. For advertising opportunities, you can email cutdeep@gmail.com or call 284-440-3234. Supporters may also donate to Cut Deep and the issues it supports through our ATH Mobile 284-440-3234 or through checks or cash. Donations will be kept confidential. 2 seasons back, we did a Get to Know the Host episode. You, the listening audience, were pleased and asked on many occasions to do a follow-up. Well, to start this season, I've decided to do a 2-part episode on getting to know the host, me, Cindy Roseanne. I've asked my friend Sarah Penny to take on this task for me, and she has gladly obliged. If I tell you I'm not very, very, very nervous, I would be lying. Sarah is one of those persons that I love and hold dear to my heart. She keeps me very accountable for my words and my actions, and she helps to keep me grounded. I thank her for taking on this task. We will take a break, and when we come back, I'm in the hot seat for tonight. We'll be right back.
Live stream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of Cut Deep, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm your guest host, Sarah Penny. As Cindy mentioned before the break, she's in the hot seat tonight. Before I get into the questions for this evening, I want to welcome back Blossoms Flores as our support sponsor for Cut Deep. And I want to thank those of you who continue to support this platform from behind the scenes. So, Cindy, hello. I really want to start with the basics tonight because as many people as you have on your call list that have known and love you for a lifetime, there's actually a lot of us that have come to know you in your adulthood only.
Right.
So take us back a little bit. What was primary school period of your life like? What did that look like?
Oh, okay. That's a good question.
Yeah.
We're going way back.
We're going way back.
So my foundation growing up is Adventist.
Okay.
So my primary school education was at the Seventh Adventist
Okay.
school. I went to the BVI High School because at that time we didn't have a Seventh Adventist high school here.
Okay.
And my mom was the type of person that she was not sending her children anywhere that she could not be.
All right.
So we even used to get teased a lot, and my childhood friends and those that grew up around us would know, like, if we got on the bus to go to a crusade or to Pathfinders or anything, she would call each of our children names to make sure they're there, they're good, they're on the bus. And so I went to the Elmo South High School, which was just the BBI High School. Yeah.
So there was a lot of accountability in your childhood even.
A lot.
A lot of accountability in your childhood. And how many are you how many siblings did you
So
raise
my
with?
family dynamic is very interesting. I like to say it's very interesting. In total,
Yeah.
it is or was 12 of us.
Okay.
I've lost two of my siblings, as most people at North would know. We lost my sister Charmaine to cancer
Yeah.
at the end of 2017, and in 2019, I lost my brother Mitch.
Yeah.
So my mom and my dad. My dad is from Guadeloupe, so he's French.
Okay. All right.
I know a lot of people say that I should go back to St. Vincent. I don't know where they get
Get
that,
that
but
from?
I can clear that up tonight.
Yes,
My dad
great.
is from Guadeloupe.
Okay.
So I refer to myself as a generational Virgin Islander.
Okay.
My mom is from here. She goes all the generations back. My mom and my dad met in their adult stage,
Okay.
where my dad had 4 children by the time he had moved to the BVI.
All right.
And my mom had 4 children
Okay.
when she met my dad. And I'm speaking now and I'm thinking this 444, and together they had 4 children.
Okay.
So that made 12 of us. So
Okay.
there are, yes, very big.
Okay.
And there is only one of my sisters that I've never met, because
Okay.
I've never had the opportunity to go to Guadeloupe.
All right.
Although I really want to change that this year. I had plans before, but COVID
Yeah.
kicked in, the hurricane, and all that was going on. But I definitely want to get there. So I have one sibling, she's there.
Okay.
And then I have 3 others and a whole range of family, nieces and nephews that
Alright.
live in Paris that I've met. I've been to Paris a couple
Okay.
times. And the others of us live here.
So you're generational Virgin Islander, and
yeah.
also you are a part of the Caribbean region,
Exactly.
even in your lineage.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Things even I didn't know about Cindy.
Yes, my dad is actually a Carib Indian. So when people tell me I'm not indigenous to the BVI, I'm like, that's okay, I'm indigenous to the Caribbean. But I do not mind at all not being indigenous to the BVI, because, I have, in my mind, something that goes with that. I prefer to be a generational Virgin Islander.
I love to hear that. And then when you ended up, so the very sort of clear, protective home family
yes.
life. And then when you did end up in secondary school, when you were at BVI High School, what was it like? Your academics, your space outside of, the school space. What was it like?
So let's see. I think that I was one of those students when I think about it now, and my second son is kind of like me. We're bored when it comes to basic academics. But I think I did well. I repeated because I just was not interested. I hate to say that I was the popular girl, but I was a popular girl, but I don't think I was a mean popular girl.
And were you involved in sports or obviously Pathfinders?
No, I kind of didn't like being active in sports, but I like sports overall. Like I watch all the sports. I have my favorite teams, from basketball to football to soccer, which we want to refer to it as tennis and all of that.
Yeah. And then what about
I did a lot
spaces?
of, I did social programs coming up in the Adventist Church, because they're very big on being
Community
accountable
service
and community service and so forth. So I was a Pathfinder. My mom, there's this organization within the Adventist Church that's called the Dorcas Society.
Okay.
And that's their arm of charity.
Okay.
So I used to like hang around them a lot, because my mom, she was very involved in charity work, and I hung out with my mom a lot.
Got it.
I was kind of like stuck with her. But I kind of realized it was because I was very shy when I was growing up. So my voice has, I found my voice, I said before, I found my voice after I had my first son.
Okay.
Like I realized that, oh, you can't be quiet anymore. You have this little thing that you have to protect. But before that, anybody that knows me knows that I was super quiet and shy, and I wouldn't say a word in the room. I'll just, if I had a question, I'll ask privately, or, But yeah, I grew up in service to
Okay. I love to hear that.
my fellow man. So
I know one of the questions too, I think a lot of us have, is I know you spent a lot of time in the Cayman Islands, and I want to know why.
well, okay, so that's a kind of a hot topic, a mixed up topic, but I'll stick to the basics. I went to school in the UK. I studied marketing there. And while I was there, my friend and I from here, well, three of us actually, my now husband, he was the roommate of one of my friends. And so we met when I went to the UK. He is from the Cayman Islands. And so when we were done, I guess, and we figured we were going to get married, we moved there.
Okay.
Yeah. My intention was not to come back to the BVI actually when I left to go to school.
Why?
I guess I wanted something different.
Okay.
Quite often I see myself as a city girl, although I love the BVI so much. I think there is so much that we can do to improve lifestyle here. And so I always thought I should live away. And that was my intention. But I was dragged back to the Caribbean.
And then why back home? Why you came home after?
I'm a family person, right? And when I moved home in 2014, that wasn't the first time I was trying to move home. I've been trying to move home since I moved because I didn't really want to live. If I was going to be this side of the world, I wanted to be where my family was. And my mom was ailing. I was away. I couldn't have that relationship with her. I'd miss my siblings. They were having children. I was having children. They weren't meeting. You know, we'd get together maybe once a year for Christmas. My sister that passed, she'd come over a few times. But for me, I really wanted to be where my family was. So, yeah.
That would make the decision.
Yeah.
I think it's on that I'm keen to ask you. I'm going to say a few words, a few of the things that I think some of us maybe identify you as. And I want you to sort of choose the 5 that you feel you connect with the most.
Okay.
Mother, activist, sister, investigator, businesswoman, friend, agitator, environmentalist, advocate, coordinator. Which of those 5, if you were doing an updated social media definition of yourself,
which would define
and
me?
if there's something missing from that, what are the five things?
Okay, I'm going to ask you to go over them, and as you go, I'm going to choose my 5
Okay,
so I can remember.
So mother?
Yes.
Yeah. Activist?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. Investigator?
Not so much.
Not as much. Businesswoman?
I identify.
Yeah. Friend?
Definitely.
Yeah. Agitator. This was, yeah. Or you'll let your friends give you that title. Environmentalist?
Yes.
You believe it. Advocate? Big time. Yeah. Coordinator. So I think you can go with almost all of those.
Yeah, except for maybe 3.
Yeah.
All
true.
Of those.
Yeah. Okay.
I identify, but I'm not as,
passionate. You see it all of a sudden. And then I know you seem to really thrive in the tourism industry in terms of your professional passions, which is really nice. And when and how did that start?
Well, I don't know if I'd say that I thrive in tourism. My background is marketing. So if I'm going to engage in a product or a service or anything, I'm going to get in depth and learn it. For me, tourism for the BVI, it's easy for me because I love the BVI. I visit the product, I understand the product, and I understand marketing, so I can merge the two. So that became easy for me.
That became easy for you. Okay. Is there a product you'd love to market?
I've done a bit of marketing, both internationally and regionally. I've done clothing and fashion, and I've even worked on election campaigns outside of the BVI. I can't think of one in particular. I think I've touched a lot of
the spaces you want to.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, good. That's great. We want to see that. Questions that get a little bit more intense, but your departure from the tourist board was quite publicly discussed.
Yeah.
And how do you summarize that event?
I want to choose my words correctly. And that's not a normal thing for me, but I want to do so just because I can update you and say that this case, I think people may have thought that it has gone away. and nothing is happening, and that it has just, disappeared into the night. But it has not. We're actually at the labor tribunal stage with this matter, because I do believe that I was targeted. I don't want to say it was a traumatic experience for me. I want to say that I expected it, because I realized with the election of the new government, where their direction was in terms of keeping persons quiet. And I wouldn't say just the elected government, I think the people that are around them, because I think if I'm hanging out with you, Sarah, I understand who you are, and I understand your agenda, and I understand the things that you would do or tolerate, so I know what I could get away with. So that's how I would easily put it. So the way they let me go was, I think that was mostly the shocker for me. And I think the fact that they had the actual guts to do it. And I think I challenged them to that point to see if they would actually do something like that. Yeah.
And that's fine.
Basically.
That's a good summary of it.
Yeah.
And it was. I
Yeah.
mean, I think for a lot of people, it was also an opportunity to see a lot of your courage. And that's a big one.
Yeah, for the past year, I can say, because I reveal a lot on my Facebook page leading into the end of 2021 in December. I shared with my Facebook following that I was doing a lot of reflecting and, things that I've dealt with and gone through for 2021. 2021 was a very difficult year for me, because if you can imagine, having a group of people decide that your children aren't going to eat, because for me, that's what it was, deciding that my children weren't going to eat because I'm a mother. And I know I had to find everything inside of me to deal with it and to stay courageous for my children. But I can tell you, Sarah, that I think the way they released me from the board, I think it has been more upsetting and more challenging for those looking in. I don't think there's a day that I go where somebody doesn't stop me and talk about that and say how it affected them and, what it really meant to them. And that means a lot to me. I know that I'm in a space where people aren't, I don't want to say they're not strong enough or courageous enough. I understand that everybody has something at stake.
Right.
So I appreciate that. But I'm grateful for the way people come up to me and let me know how that event affected them.
And how are you right now feeding your children?
And Sarah, they're so spoiled.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm trying to do is not expose too much of my business in what I do, because I know as a fact that, and we know that there are people out there that are constantly looking to undermine and, work towards your demise. But I have started, I shouldn't say started. I've just jumped into my businesses that I've had before. Guava Berry Marketing, Guava Berry Property. And in addition, my younger sister, who is also an attorney, she has her master's in law. Her and I teamed up because she has gone through some things, and I really wanted to help get her back on her feet. And this gave me an opportunity or the time and space to do so. And so her and I restarted. I'm going to say restart as well. It was SL Rose and Law before, but we've restarted White Cedar Management. And we're actually located in an office space.
Yay.
And those that need us know where to find us. So we've done that, and that is thriving really well.
What you've opened spaces to, which is really wonderful. And then the other piece, it's great to talk about your children. 2 of your 3 children have been directly impacted by online schooling and things like that. How has that been for you to manage?
Emily attends the Willard Whitley School, and I think her teachers are very engaging and hands-on, and they keep me posted. So if I'm really busy, they will touch base with me, send me a WhatsApp, whether she's online or not online, and so forth. Amari hasn't really dealt well with the whole online thing because, as I've said before, he is not a regurgitator, if you understand what I mean by that. You can't tell him this is white, and he's going to say it's white.
Right.
He needs to be engaged. So it's been a little more challenging with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's fair to say you're trying to balance a lot of
Yeah, well, I do.
pieces.
I don't have a choice. In all of this, Sarah, I also had a very traumatic personal experience happen to me. And I mean, I'm sure everybody knows because it played out on social media. So I did have to juggle that, my release from the board. I had to juggle that, which is my ongoing divorce, and juggle being a single mother.
Yeah. And then I'd love to come back to a second to your Adventist growing up and talk a little bit about what your relationship is with your higher power now.
We have an audience that is, I know they believe a lot of different things, but I believe part of being strong is finding your own self and knowing what works for you. Whether that's finding your internal self through experiences or through reading and research, you find yourself. So I don't consider myself to be religious. I more look at the spiritual aspects in the universe and, the way we're supposed to just operate as good humans or good citizens. It's not about a Bible thing for me, Yeah.
So the Virgin Islands Constitution even identifies our nation as a Christian society.
Yeah.
It is a part of our fabric and our thread. But what does that mean to you?
What I think about the Christianity thing is that it kind of keeps us grounded in goodness.
Okay.
The thought of goodness, or good and bad, I should say, good and bad. I want to think that is, it keeps us there, understanding what's good and what's bad, although I think most times we don't live up to it. I mean, we go to church and we think that's okay and that's all that we need to do. Pray to God, but don't follow out with the actions per se.
What are the beautiful things, positive things about seeing ourselves as a Christian society that maybe you wish we would stay true to more?
The biggest thing for me, Sarah, would be loving each other more. I don't think there's a lot of love in our environment. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me that I see where we're failing. Because if we did truly love ourselves, a lot of the problems that we have, we wouldn't have.
Got it. Now, this may not seem completely related, but I know just from social media posts that the premier called to wish you a happy birthday on your birthday, which for many would be, what? I feel like, that's surprising because Cindy is so often trying to hold perhaps elected leadership's feet to the fire and accountability.
Yeah.
So can you describe at all why you think that dynamic does work?
I look at it this way. People don't like to be called out. And I understand that. And that could make relationships fragile. Or you can go in a place where I'm going to be big about it. I have these issues. I don't hate you on a personal level, but I wish that. And if you can understand that, then we can coexist. I think the premier and I can coexist. He knows how I feel. He knows that is not going to be challenged. And so in that space, we coexist. Yeah. We're not enemies. I'm not enemies with any of these guys. I feel quite strongly about the Honorable Wheatley, which is my district rep, very strongly about him, but I don't hate him. It's difficult for us to be called out and be held to account.
Right.
It's difficult for me too, but if I have to hear it, I have to hear it. I'll take it in and I'll go from there.
Do you have a specific experience in your life that you reflect on where somebody highlighted something about you or your behavior that you struggled to hear but maybe learned from?
I don't know if I struggle to hear it. I know it to be the truth. But so this will be a great time, I guess, for me to maybe dive into it a little bit. There are people that, okay, I think I have two different dynamics going on with people. Okay. Some people love my strong, bold thing. You know, with that, sometimes I can be a little disrespectful. It depends on what's on the table and what I think might be at stake. Yeah. I could be a little rougher around the edges than maybe I should be. And then there are those that they hear what I'm saying and they like what I'm saying, but they can't deal with that strength or the little shoddy rudeness, if I fit it in there. And I understand that, and I get calls about it. I listen, and then I may still do it again. And the reason for that is I go back to my marketing and media background. Okay. And my thoughts on why I was going to even open my mouth in the BVI. In media and marketing, any professional that's in that realm will know that you analyze your demographic, okay, and you decide how best to reach them. And there are a lot of people that they speak, they say things, but you don't hear them. And I believe that is because what they're saying, how they're saying is not effective. Okay. You might be irritated by the way I say something, but you heard me. Mm-hmm. Right? And I knew that was the way for me to get through to you. So I have your attention, so I can get through to you. Okay. So that was the idea behind that. People are saying to me now these days, because they've seen that I've taken a bit of a shift in this new year. Oh, you're a bit calmer. You're saying things a little differently. And I mean, I'm going to say that that's by choice. That is part of my plan. I needed to get your attention. I understood how to do that. And now you're locked in. I can help you see what I need for you to see and understand, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. I think with that, it's a perfect time for us to take a little bit of a break. And so we'll see you back in just a moment.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Right back into the conversation. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are on Cut Deep. I am your the guest host this evening, Sarah Penny, and Cindy is being courageous as always and allowing all of us as viewers into knowing more about her as the host. And so, Cindy, where I'd love to pick up this conversation is with the fact that there was a recent article out of The Guardian talking about the growing number of women in political office or elected office, particularly in the Caribbean region, Barbados, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, all of these places. And the quote that really worked for me was that these women are finding solutions to pressing global challenges with purpose, passion, and people at the forefront. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious as to, do you see the BVI being able to join this growing list of countries in the Caribbean with strong and successful women? Yeah. Sarah, you know me really well, and I think you know my position on this particular topic. I think most people that follow me might do. Mm-hmm.
I believe that there is something real and genuine that women bring to the table. The BVI, I really want to see us get there. I see where the hindrance could be, but I believe that there are very strong, courageous women in the BVI that can indeed step up to lead the BVI forward or from where it is. I always look at the dynamic, so the difference between men and women. And yes, there are women that are, really, but I think the place in which the BVI is right now, we need to get back to our basics. We need to get back to love and care and passionate leadership and nurturing, and because we have a lot of social issues, and I think they're really the underlying foundation that's really shaky right now with the violence and the corruption and just all these things. And I think that women look at the problem with a solution in mind. And women may not always get along and we bicker, but we're going to work together towards a goal. And then we're going to walk away and going, ugh, I don't like it, but I'm going to do it, right? The men, the ego gets involved and they're back and forth and nothing happens. And men like to build physical things as well. They like to see physical goals. So I think the BVI really needs that type of leadership moving forward, a nurturing, passionate leadership that's going to look at our social issues and
Is there anything you've had, or a few things even, don't feel limited to one, but personal experiences that make certain issues really personal for you? We can just focus on social fabric even to keep it specific.
So, I mean, again, I grew up in Adventism, and their foundation is very strict in terms of accountability and so forth. They're really also big on, as I've said before, I call it, charity.
Okay.
That social dynamic. I think in those ways, I think I've gone off your question, but repeat your question for me.
Just let me help you come back. So I know even our elected leadership now, each of us, it's almost like what makes you tick. What are some things that have happened in your life, or, what gives you that little extra momentum to focus on? You can even speak to women's issues or your civic action. Like, what were the catalysts? What were the moments?
Okay, I can't say that I had personal catalysts.
Okay.
When I zoom in on the issues that I zoom in on, I just have this passion. I guess it's innate in me, the things that drive me more. As a woman, I guess I would be more concerned about women issues. I've had friends that have been raped or molested or, abused. So their stories affect me. I think that women aren't given the opportunity to be as they could be. They're totally or quite often marginalized. So the women issues come in there for me. I have a daughter that I have to be an example for. Even my sons, my two sons, I tell my children every single day, 100 times a day, that I love them. We talk about issues, we talk about life, we talk about a lot of things, every single thing. So, yeah.
Okay, that works. And then, when you really build on that, though, it's often like, okay, yes, sure, you have women's issues, so you're going to be drawn to those issues. You really challenge people, I think, cross-gender to do better and to do more. But we have a lot of single parent households in our community, predominantly single women. And it's hard. We have a wage gap between men and women here, even though it would be great for us to have better data to back that up. But how do you balance those two? challenging people to be more courageous, more active when the burden, in a way, of trying to keep a family together, raise children, keep food on the table is at times quite difficult.
Yeah, I guess it would go back to how much strength anybody has in the things that they want to focus on or find important to focus on. For me, sometimes I'm like, Cindy, you're just doing too much.
Yeah.
You're doing too much. But I do that because I know, like, I don't know when is my last. I don't know when my last breath is, like in terms of my children. So I push myself to accomplish a lot of things. Like if and my children and I have this conversation, you'd be surprised how comfortable they are with death, or if I had to pass away, what that would mean for them. Like we have those real conversations. So I find that, especially how it's been going, like every second there's somebody that you know so close to you that died for whatever reason. So I feel like I personally don't have a lot of time. And I want to make changes for the BVI. I want to make changes or leave a legacy for my children. I want to make sure they have a foundation that they can stand on should something happen to me. And what I do for the BVI is part of that foundation for them. So that's the way I look at it when I am out there fighting for the BVI. I'm fighting for me, I'm fighting for my children, I'm fighting for their children. And when I say their children, I mean your children and all my friends' children and every other child, because your child has friends and friends care about friends. At least that's how I train my children. You know, so I just take on all the battles that I could. I stand as strong as I can. And sometimes I go home and I cry, you know, and we have to do that sometimes because the burden is heavy. There are times that I didn't have anything to eat and I have people calling me to help them. And sometimes I've given people my last dollar, and I have this little one on the side, Amari, my second son, who's like, you're giving away our money. We don't have any money. You're giving away our money. And I'm like, you know, it will be fine.
Sometimes it will
you
be
know?
fine.
So, I mean,
Yeah, okay, that's great. And then, I mean, with all of that, if there were 3 other spaces that maybe you're not in right now that you could allocate, you know, really significant chunks of your time to, what would they be? What would be the 3 problems or challenges or projects you would want to take on?
Wow, what have I not taken on? Maybe I should ask you that from the way.
Yeah, but maybe it's
inside out, because I advocate for all green spaces. That's a big deal for me as well. I don't know.
Well, we're going to come back to that question when we get near to the end of this time together. Because again, it's one of those things, if I could give you infinite resources and, you know, maybe for some reason your children were looked after, they were, who knows, maybe this is when they're all out of university or wherever they want to be, and you have a new, you know, phase or season in your life, what would you want to dedicate yourself to? What 3 things? I think it's worth thinking about.
It is, because I don't know what to think personally, because quite often I don't think personally. So I'm thinking, what projects or what can I dive in to make the BVI a better place? Is that the angle?
Kind of, yeah. We'll come back to it. I mean, it's interesting because it's beautiful to hear you talk about your children more, and I'm keen to know, like, what's maybe the part of raising 3 children that you enjoy the most?
I think our conversations.
Okay.
I think I have some really cool kids.
Okay.
And let me not call them kids. I don't like to call children kids. I say children. I think I have some really cool children, really down to earth. We have a lot of conversations. They confide in me, and I've created that space where they are comfortable to do so. Like, I'm gonna say something and Emily's probably gonna kill me and I'm probably gonna kill myself. But yesterday we were driving to town, right? Because the boys go to track and they finish like 7 o'clock in the evening. Sarah, I kid you not. So my day starts at like 6 o'clock in the morning because Hugh Anthony goes to school in Virgin Gorda. So he catches a 7:40 boat. So once I go to work, I'm not back and forth. I just I'm in town. So I work until 7, waiting for them to have track. But I didn't go to work yesterday. I was working from home, and my daughter and I were going to go to town to pick them up, grab some food from the supermarket. And I turned to her and I was like, I really love somebody, but I don't know if they love me back. Right? That kind of casual conversation. And she turns to me and she's like, right? Me too. I was like, what? Right? So it's kind of, I try to have that kind of comfortable conversation with her. And now I couldn't do that with my mom. Like, I could never tell my mom that I liked somebody, or, try to have, she would just freak out, oh, sex is bad. And you're going to have children, and what's going to happen to you, and you have to finish your education. I don't do that with my children.
Right.
I leave that space. We have a proper conversation, what it means. If you want to love somebody, if you think you love somebody, where that can go and what all of that could mean in your dynamic of growing up and school. But I don't like, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to like somebody, So we have really calm conversations. My children are,
that's great.
They have that space to talk to me about anything. And Amari would say anything.
So then what's the flip side? What's the hardest? What do you enjoy the least about parenting?
I think that I've had a really, really good parenting experience to this point, because in having children, I don't know if you realize, I'm like that person that plans everything. It may not appear that way, but in my mind, I'm planning everything. When I was younger, I used to write a lot. I used to write everything. And my mom used to say to me, what are you writing? I just wrote everything. I intentionally planned to have children at 30 because I felt like I couldn't do anything for a child until I kind of knew who I was and was grounded and could offer them any type of advice or experience or anything. So that was a plan for me. And that's what I did. So I was able to kind of groom and nurture my children in a way out of my experiences, what I've learned from growing up, traveling, going away to school, being away from just everything, business, how I handled just everything. I was able to do that. My downside as a parent living in the BVI is would I get a call that my son was murdered? And that is not something I ever thought that I would have to think about in the BVI. And I do, because my oldest son is 17. He has his friends. He likes the scooters and stuff. He has a scooter. He goes out with them. His scooter is annoying. He has to stay within its license. It's insured. He couldn't take off the muffler or do any of that. But, he goes out. Children are going to get caught up. So I think that's one of my biggest worry, that I can't protect them.
Okay.
Forever.
I would be happy to talk then specifically. How did you make the decision with Hugh Anthony about a scooter? This may seem like a departure, but I think it's a good illustration of how do you deal with challenging issues that have a lot of ramifications.
So Hugh Anthony has wanted a scooter for a while. And that didn't sit well with me. My nephew has a scooter, and he handles it very well. He gave me some comfort. There were other friends that I called in trying to make a decision as to whether I should do that, but I was still scared because I don't want him to end up on the road. Although, you teach him to do the right thing or whatever, I realized the friction between the motoring public and the scootering public. I understand those frictions. So it was a really it was a hard decision for me. I won't lie to you. And so I made the decision after speaking to one of my friends, and he calmed me. And I had to really go in that space and be like, you can't hold back your children because of your fear. And that's one thing I saw my mom did. And I always said I would not want to be that type of mother, like hold back your children because you're afraid something would happen to them. So on his 16th birthday, I played with it. That's what he really wanted for his 16th birthday. And I tell you, it was the afternoon of his 16th birthday that I made a decision. And I was like, I'm going to go get this scooter.
Wow. All right.
And I went and I got the scooter. I haven't regretted it, but I still do fear for his life out on the road.
And one that I think a lot of parents share, and a challenging decision to make. So thank you for not lying to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to attest to that so publicly, but I hope everyone listening and watching has heard Cindy say that she's being straightforward and allowing us to cut deep.
Yes, I am. I'm nervous. If you can see, I'm gripping my chair, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, yes.
And with that, we are going to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, we have some more interesting questions to get to know Cindy even more.
At Blossoms, our floral experts use their creative flair to design beautiful and exotic bouquets. We are the on-island wedding experts, and for boating enthusiasts, we can help you to add a touch of floral elegance, life, and color to your yacht, mega yacht, both locally and internationally. We've even worked with celebrities. At Blossoms, we continue to deliver smiles and watch our customers bloom.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back, everybody. We have our third section of our Get to Know Your Host. I'm Sarah Penny, your guest host for the evening, here guiding Miss Roseanne through some questions that hopefully help us all to get to know her better. Cindy, here's one that's been important for me really to ask, is that Cut Deep is a fantastic platform. You are a phenomenal human. I admire so much your courage and the time that you dedicate, which I think sometimes we don't give enough credit for, how much time you dedicate from your life that you really could be doing a lot of other things with that gets directed towards civic responsibility. But what gives you the authority to host a show like Cut Deep?
Well, I think that all of us are responsible for everything that's going on around us.
Okay.
I think that gives me authority, if you understand what I'm saying. But, I started out this on my social media page, Facebook.
Right.
And as people become interested and engaging, they kind of ask you and direct you to where they think that you need to be to give them more. I'm going to say it like that. And in assessing that and assessing where I want to see the BVI get to and the way that I can make an impact, I thought I already have a voice. Based on all of this, I can take it to another level, create a show where I can widen my reach
Okay. And what are the things about yourself as a person? Like, what are, like, stay simple, because you're fantastic at the bigger, broader concept, and we have enough time now to get into the details. So what are the real pieces of what and who Cindy is? Like, I mean, I don't want to lead your answers, but are you detail orientated, or are you a good judge of character? These things as to what makes you sort of positioned to have a forum like this.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. Why Cindy?
I don't know that I like to judge people. I like to give them the opportunity to show me who they are.
Okay.
And I go from there. I think I'm a pretty good judge of character if I had to judge one.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I would sideline you anyway. I would still, if I had to try to work with you and figure things out, I would do that. I am a procrastinator. If we want to, I feel like I do my best being pressured under immense pressure, I might say. So I could have a major project due in 5 days, and I'll probably get to it like 24 hours before, and I'd get it done.
Okay.
That's not the best way.
No.
Though. Am I detailed? Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I think I'm a perfectionist.
A perfectionist. Okay.
Which I think makes my life difficult, because I like things a certain way.
That can be, yeah. Or sometimes something to be proud of. You never know how that's going to work out. But I mean, a lot of people seem to say yes to you. Where do you think that comes from?
Now, that was a question I wasn't prepared for.
Or maybe you don't feel that way. I don't know how many no's you get in your phone or in your conversations, but
even if I get a no, I'm going to turn it into a yes. I know that that's a strength that I have. It could be a weakness too.
We made her stop, everybody. We made her pause. She hadn't seen any of these questions ahead of time, just for everybody to know. So I'm surprised this is the one that she wasn't quite expecting.
I can take a few different angles with that question, right? It depends on what I'm asking for, I'd say.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I think people like me. I'm gonna be as shallow as that.
Okay.
And as deep as I think that people see me as a formidable force.
Okay.
Should I say that? People still don't know where I'm gonna end up.
Okay.
I think that's very important given the dynamics of where we live. So I can say that I work for a yes. Some of the factors are that I'm loved and I'm also feared.
Okay.
I'll do it like that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that works. I think then the deeper layer is, where do you see yourself? I'd love an example where you've seen who you are, what you've done, whether it be Cut Deep, other more, social media level advocacy, Grapevine, interpersonal advocacy. Where have you, we'll limit it to the last 5 years, seen who you are make an impact or change something for the better?
Where have I done so?
Yeah. Give me an example. Be specific, Cindy. No broad.
Okay, so I'm going to do personal and professional.
Great.
I think that I have made an impact in tourism.
Okay.
Coming back home.
Okay.
I think that I have made an impact in politics. I'm not in elective office, but I think I've made an impact in just opening the minds of people to be more aware, alert, and involved in a part of the conversation, and knowing that you can have a conversation as it relates to the day-to-day running of the territory, or where we want to see the territory in the future. I think I've made a big impact there. I don't brag about it because I just want to do what I need to do to create a better space
Okay.
for all of us.
Okay.
So I think I've made an impact there. I think socially, I also continue to make an impact. I, again, don't talk about that in the number of people that I work with in their situations to assist. I don't know, I'm sure I've shared it with you. I shared on my page that one of the things, like I could have, had a photo shoot and, be on the beach in a swimsuit or something and had an amazing,
For your birthday.
something so, but I thought what I really want to do this birthday, and it's something that I've thought about for a long time, but my birthday this year was, like I told you, I'm a procrastinator. For my birthday, I was going to make it happen, and that was to launch a charitable foundation. And so I was able to do that, Guava Berry
Foundation.
Courage Foundation. And through that, I will continue to help people. And it's not limited to any particular thing. It could be anything, whether it's building your career and helping you figure that out, liaising with other women or men, creating that foundation for girls and women and boys and men. It could be buying food for someone, renting, whatever the need is, that charity is going to attempt to assist in filling.
Okay.
Scholarships, whatever.
Okay. So this is a new space when we talk about projects
Yeah,
that we
well, that is a new
take
project.
on.
It
Yeah.
may not be a new space because
Right.
I've done it before, but I just needed that. I needed a vehicle to make it
to
something
formalize the
bigger,
word.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
All
more
right,
impactful.
birthdays. And apply yourself. That takes a lot of work, though, as somebody that understands the NPO legislation in the
Yes,
territory and
yes.
the requirements when you set
Yes.
up a foundation and
Yeah.
things like this. How are you going to manage that? A lot of admin
Well,
time, fundraising.
One of the things that is important to me is the people that I surround myself with. I believe in networking. I've done it from a very young age. I believe in networking. I believe in your network and the people that you hang around is your most valuable asset.
Okay.
And so that's why I have people like you that know about NPOs. But this charity is going to have a board. So it's not going to even be functioning by me personally. I've started putting people in place, a board of 13 people to be able to manage this foundation.
Okay. A magical number, 13. I think that we're going to, just so everybody knows, this is part one of a two-part series of
Yes.
questions for Cindy. And what's important is that they feed each other. So I think it is really important for us to speak a bit more about the number 13 and what it relates to in terms of the British Virgin Islands and our House of Assembly and elected leadership. But also something to contemplate is your expectations of others. And so I know from this side it's wonderful that Guava Berry Courage Foundation is there. Very, very proud of you that
Thank
you've
you.
included the word courage in there because that is synonymous with Cindy Roseanne. And then to go back then in the last little bit of time that we have, pretend I had given you no words, no adjectives, no descriptors of who you are. But if we hadn't done this interview and you just had a beautiful photograph of Cindy in white and there were 5 words, what defines you? Because we have 1 minute left and we want to...
What defines me? My courage,
courage, okay.
my tenacity.
Tenacity, okay.
I care. I think that that comes through to people. I think I care genuinely, and I think people realize that I do. Strength.
Okay.
I would say that I'm gonna get like fun. I'm fun. I'm outgoing. I'm easy to talk to.
Easy to talk
Yeah.
to. Well, with that, because easy to talk to is a great place to stop. Again, Please join us next week where we'll be having part 2, some little samples. We're going to talk a little bit about Cindy's fashion sense. And we really enjoyed being with you all. And please join us next week. Good night.